In this video, we'll show you how to import data from an Excel file into an InDesign document using Rxindi. The version of Rxindi we'll be using here is 1.4. We'll assume that you're already familiar with the basics of Rxindi. If this is not the case, then please make sure to watch the other videos in the tutorial series. Links in the description. An Excel file consists of a set of one or more sheets, each with rows and columns. Rxindi is flexible enough to handle any kind of structure within the Excel file. In this video we'll keep things relatively straightforward though, by using an Excel file with a single sheet that has rows and columns describing employee information. The first row is a header row, meaning that it contains the names of the columns for the following rows. Using the first row as a header row is such a common practice, that by default Rxindi will assume that this is the case for any Excel file you select as input. You can change this default behavior by changing the mapping mode in the Rxindi options menu. By switching the mapping mode to raw, no assumptions on the file layout are made. For this video we'll keep this setting to its default. For more information on what the other mapping modes exactly do, please refer to the Rxindi manual. Now let's select the Excel file as the data source. When that's done we can create the template document. To visualize the actual structure of the selected file, you can use the Load into XML structure feature of Rxindi. Each node in this tree with a square box represents a path item or element. You can use these in paths for Rxindi statements. The root node is data. This is also the default context, so you can skip this level if you like. The next level is sheet. This Excel file only has a single sheet. This means that we do not have to specify a specific one in paths in this example. Next come the row items. The Excel file has 19 rows with data, so there are 19 row elements here. Note that in the default mapping mode the header row is not included as a row element. Under the row is an element for each column. The name of the element is the name of the column in the Excel file. Note that some characters, like spaces, are not included in the element name for the column. So now that we know the structure, we can start writing some Rxindi statements to output data. Let's start with a simple example where we output some of the data for a specific row. Here we take the full name and annual salary information of the third data row, and output it. In many cases, you don't just want to output the information of a single row like this though. Instead, you'd want to iterate over all rows, and output all, or at least a subset of them. No problem with Rxindi. You can iterate over items, using the loop, and the row repeat statements. Let's have a look at both. First let's write a loop that iterates over all rows in the sheet. Now within the loop block we can directly output the data for the columns by given their name. We've added some tabs here, to get a nicely aligned output. Note that the path argument for the loop statement is actually XPath. This means that you can use the power of XPath to directly apply some filtering here. For instance, let's change this to only output employees who are in the IT department. Next, let's output the data into an actual InDesign table. For this we create a table with two rows. The first one we'll use as a header in Out document. The second one will be a template row that will be repeated using the row repeat statement. The rest is very similar to our previous example. For table rows we can make good use of the power of the table styling actions in Rxindi. Say for instance that instead of filtering, we want to make each row in the table, for employees of the IT department, green. For this we have defined a cell style in the template document, called highlight. Now we can add an action, with a condition to check whether the department name is IT, and if so apply the cell style to the row. What we've shown here is only a glimpse of the possibilities. For more details, please have a look at the Rxindi manual and the other videos in the Rxindi tutorial series. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.